Okay, so let us go ahead. Like yesterday we have seen, right? So 3 steps are involved. So first step is to identify the record using the primary key. Second step is to set the properties, and the third one is save the record. So we are going to do the exact same thing on the activity now. So we are going to open an obj method, use an obj method to open the instance. Okay, so yes, I have these on the student data. Okay, let me go to my app. The first thing I would like to use is an obj open. And which instance am I opening? You are opening an instance of a data-student class. So what should I do is I should go use a step page for it. Data-student. Yes, my page. Okay, and which property is your primary key? It is the SID, right? And you can hard code it, but ideally we should not. So let us take this input from. So you can either create a property for SID. If not, SID is of the type integer. Okay? So maybe I can create a simple property on the SID. And I would like to collect this input from the user itself. Because I would like to collect this input from the user itself. So and I'll let this be an integer. And where would I put it? On the get personal info section. So here I'm dynamically taking the input from the user itself. Where is the SID? Yes. Okay, so here is the SID. And now I would like to map this onto my activity. So this is going to be the primary dot SID is what I'm expecting. Let's say yes. So here I'm passing in this input from the user directly. Okay. Now let us add in the next step. It is a property set. You're setting the properties, the updation that you wanted to do. You're setting that onto the my page again. And what properties are you looking at? Let us change the first name. And the last name. Okay, let us just save it. Okay, right. Then the last thing I would like to do is I would like to save this particular instance. Okay, so again an obj save. And on to which instance? Again to the my page. And I would like to write this immediately to the DB, so I'm using an option called write. In fact, the property set also we can, in fact, using instead of using this hard-coded values, let's take it from the user itself. So I think we have a primary dot first name anyways, so we'll use it. And then the primary dot your fields. Okay, so all the inputs are coming from the user itself. Okay, so let us create a transaction. And where is my activity called? It is called on the post processing of get personal info, right? See. There's already an SID here. What is it? Just okay.
But we have not added the activity on the post process of the flow action.
We didn't do it. Yesterday we did
No.
We were able to see. Okay, but let's cross check once again. Unless it's, the activity is invoked somewhere, log message and all will not get executed, correct? But let's do cross check once again if the activity is invoked or not. I think we'll directly see it on flow action itself. We did not add it. Okay, so let me put it on the post processing of the flow action called get personal info. Okay, it is somewhere in here. Fine. Okay, I think I'll just change stage to the submission stage directly. Collect customer info. Okay. This is part of a circumstancing that we have seen. Yes. So now for a student of which one should we update? Okay. Let's take record 103 where I have MS and Dhoni as the first name and last name. Let us change it. The record is 103. We'll change it to Hello World. Okay. Now instead of MS Dhoni, I should see Hello World for the record 103 if your activity was successful. Let's check post processing. So where should I check? I can go back to the student. I can refresh it. Yes, now do I see Hello World instead of MS Dhoni? So which means you are able to update a record in the DB using your activity, getting the inputs from the end user. Correct? Yes. So here is your activity where you opened a specific instance, and where is it coming from? It is coming from the user. Okay. Then even the first name and last name, they are coming from the user. Then you have set it to the object instance, and then you have finally saved it. Okay. So on the save, I have different options here, whether you are looking for update or you are looking for insert. Okay. So only if new will write data, only if the record is a new entry on the table. If you are trying to manipulate or modify something existing, only if new should be disabled. Okay. Once you use this, the system checks is it a new entry on the table or not. If yes, only then it is inserted or only then it is written. Otherwise, it will be discarded. Okay. Whereas if you remove this, your updates are also possible. Yes, so this is one way. Like through the activity, you would be able to interact with the database. So in fact, you are retrieving the data here. Your retrieval is done on my page, whereas the updation, yes, it is also through the my page because you're saving the my page instance. When you look at the clipboard, you will see the my page instance here. It is not part of any PY work page or anything. Just under the user pages category, you will be able to see the my page. Yes, and what type is it? Data-student. And what do you see? You see hello world record 103. Okay. But if you are only retrieving it, I mean no property set or no DB updation, you will see MS Dhoni only because it is part of a retrieval. But when you are writing it, you will see the my page is getting updated as in when you write data onto the database. Clear with this? So one way through which I can interact with the DB, both retrieval and insertions, is through an activity. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So then earlier activity is the only way through which you can write data onto the DB. But after 7.3, we have got savable data pages. So data pages, the earlier notion is that they are only for retrieval, whereas activities are for both read and write. Okay. But now we have a savable data page through which you can in fact save the data onto the DB using your D pages. Yes, so I think as we have a couple of D pages already, I think we'll take the student one only because we used it anyways for the activity. Okay, so let me take a student D page. Okay, we'll take a savable D page created by the system. And in fact, you can create your own D pages also depending upon the requirement, right? I think we have seen that. You can click on the three dots. You can add a D page with your respective specifications. So let me take the savable D page. So the same thing now what we have done, you can achieve it through the savability page. So I think let's see that. Okay, fine. So we have, okay, let's take the same scenario again. So once on a savable data page, let's see what is the additional configuration that you have. So here also, just like the activity, both the retrieval and the write options are available. You see, using a data source, you are retrieving the data. I mean, this is similar to your OBJ open, and this is your data save option. This is your OBJ save. Okay. So what type of data save are you looking at? Right? Is it through a connector? Is it through an activity? Again, I can also call in my activity here, right? So whatever activity you wrote in the earlier scenario, you can invoke it from the D page, right? Yes, or it could be a connector where you are updating data in another application. Yes, or it could be a simple database save. And you can ask me, what about the set operation, the property set that we did? Where would that happen? That would happen on your data transform. So this data transform is where the manipulation of data or mapping of data would happen here. This data save option is an additional configuration that you see only on savable data pages. When the mode is savable, only then this would appear. Okay. So I think let's go ahead. We'll do this. And also on the parameters, when I say this is similar to your OBJ save, sorry, OBJ open, you need to pass the primary key, correct? So yes, here is your primary key, SID. And also you get to see it on the parameters tab here because SID is the input that you are passing in to this savable D page. And like I said, even you see it on the lookup as well. So these are some default configurations that we have to make sure. Right? If it is created during the configuration of the source, you get them default. But if you are creating your own D page, we have to add these parameters explicitly. Okay? So that's why I'm just mentioning. So you see it on the parameters, param.sid, and you also see it on the parameters tab saying it is an integer. Sorry, and this is an input required. And what type is it? Data-student. Okay, this has to be explicitly done if we are creating a D page from scratch. Okay, now what do I have to do is I should create a DT, I should create a data transform to make sure the property set is handled correctly. So let me create a DT.
You mentioned
Yeah,
that the property set one will happen in DT. So what will
correct.
be the sequence of execution? First, it will go to source and it will retrieve the data.
Correct, correct.
Then we do a property set. So it will run this data transform first.
Data transform, yes. So first the data transform is executed, then
And
your validate rule will also be executed, making sure, because any random data I set will not be considered. So it will be validated and then it will be saved into the DB.
okay, so source, data transform, validate rule, and then the save option.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
So let me name it a savable DT. And where is it created? If you see, it is created on the data-student, which means your my page. Right? So just the similar kind of thing is happening, but with a D page this time. So here again, these can be from the user, right? You can set this from the user or you can hard code it. What would we change now with the first name? So this time we'll change it to something. Okay, so we have set the sources. In fact, if you are looking at, okay, maybe first we'll do this, then let me save the DT. Okay, and in case you need any validations on the data, you can have them, and they are also created on the data class itself. Right? You see it is created on the data dash student class. Okay, now my D page is ready, so let's go ahead. We'll use it. Okay, but where should I use it? And yes, one more thing. Yes, I was about to mention this. And one more thing, suddenly you see for a savable DT, earlier I didn't have any parameters, but now it says the reference SID is not available. The value for SID cannot be blank. What happened is the SID that is there when you're doing the lookup. Right? So the same SID should be passed for your DT as well. Let's see, once you click on the parameter, for the DT, what are you looking at? Param.SID. Okay, so the same SID is passed so that the specific record that you're looking, only that would be modified. Now my DT is ready. Let's go ahead and I think SID is already available on the UI, so I'll let it be. The next thing that I should do is I'll define a savable shape directly on the case lifecycle. Right? I think I'll move submission towards the front. I think this can be. I think I'll move this as well. Okay. Okay, so let me open this. Now we have a step designed for the savable D pages. In fact, you can save a D page using the flow action also. Once you look at any flow action, you see there's an option called savable D page. Let me show that as well. Now on the actions, you see that only on the post processing, because on the pre-processing you don't save anything. On the post processing, you have a savable D page. So you can add your data pages here. Probably if you're trying to save multiple instances of classes, yes, you can add a savable D page here. Underscore savable student, right? You can add it here. When you have multiple D pages to add, you can add them here, or you can also do it on the flow. See, you have a shape which is save data page. And where do I want to save it? I think earlier change that I made was not available. Not. Okay, now I'll use the automation, save data page. Okay, now what are you saving? Let's see. And then you have to set, right? Like what D page you are saving and how would you pass that parameter, right? We should look at those things. So let me go back to the contextual properties panel of savable data page. Yes, here it is. Okay, what is the data page that you are using? It is D underscore student savable. Savable, yes. And suddenly you see there's an SID. Why did I get SID here? Because that's the parameter that you have to pass. Okay. So I think I can just give dot. So
For now, SID directly came as the parameter on D page because it was the primary key of
yeah,
the data type student. Okay,
correct.
so if
And,
we define
also
primary key as other,
and also because it is listed out on the parameters. I mean, I did not do it explicitly, as this is a primary key, it would be a parameter for my D page.
okay. So
That's why
if I would have made the first name as the primary key, then the default parameter here would have been first name.
would be correct, exactly.
Okay.
Now, yes, I use the same. Yeah. I would like to use the SID here. Now, why do I see 101, 102, 3, and 4? Because those are the SIDs that I have on the system. But it has to be dynamic, so I would give it .SID. Right? So this would be coming from the user, right? Your primary scope, your primary .SID is this, the one that I'm getting from collect personal info screen. So that SID is being passed as a parameter to this D page. Okay, and let us save and run. Okay, let's add in the SID. So which record am I going to change now? We'll give 104. Okay. And the first name and last name, I think we have hard coded it there. So that's fine. So if my savable data page is executed successfully, yes, let's check. I'll go back to my student. I should see a change on 104. It has to be what? I think Ricky Ponting is what. Okay. Do I see the change? I'm still loading. Okay. So let's wait. Let's see if yes. So 104 is updated with a new data, the one that you have mentioned on the post-processing DT, right? Your savable DT, what is mentioned. The same data, I see it on the record. Yes. And in fact, we can also pass this as a input from the user directly, right? So instead of here, the primary scope is going to be your data underscore student. Sorry, data dash student would be your primary scope. So even I cannot use the primary. Instead, what you have to do is list out your py work page on the clipboard, and then py work page dot first name would be your I think I'll just and then primary page. Okay, and what would it be? It would be XYZ. Earlier we mentioned data student as the class. Now we should mention work dash recruitment as the class. Yes, I mean you're getting it right. Why it is work dash recruitment?
Yes.
So here the primary. Okay, I should have work page, but that's fine. So the primary you see it is data dash student, but the primary page you see work dash recruitment. So I can have it from the user directly. Okay, I think we'll just execute this one more time. So this time we'll take up a record from 102. So 102 and 102 is what? Sachin Tendulkar. Let us change it to okay. Now it has to change to Saurav Ganguly. If your execution of the savable D page is successful. Still loading. So let us refresh this. Why is it empty? Let's look at the clipboard data once. My PY work page. The first name and last name here are fine. What about the underscore student savable? Why do I see not? I don't see a first name and last name here. Why? Just run this and check. Is this not saved or not? It seems like this is not saved. Why is it classless? Primary page, we have given it as workdash recruitment. I think I changed this. Let's just save it once again. Just making sure everything is. Let me just save this also. This is what. Is it pointing to the right detail? Yes. Let us do it once again. Let's see. I'm trying to change the record 104. Let's look at the clipboard. Do I have it on the PY work page? Yes, hello world is there. What about SID? Yes, I have it. What about the underscore savable? Yes, I see hello world. Okay, now, yes, let's check. So 104 has to be updated with, yes. Earlier, I think we did not save the D page, so probably it took the empty one, but yes, now 4 is updated with the data that we have given. Yeah.
So we have to save the database again if we do any changes.
Yes,
Okay.
ideally we need not do it, but we made a change on the DT, it should reflect. But only after we save it, we are seeing the change. Probably could be a bit of a momentary issue, maybe a refresh or something. Ideally, we wouldn't need to do it. Yeah, it did not work, so I went and saved this. So yes, now we see the change here. Okay, so just like your activity, you can use your D page also for retrieving. So setting the data and then writing the data back into the DBS. So clear with this?
I have one question.
Yes.
It's regarding the sequence and how it will get executed.
Okay.
Now we are entering the SID in the user is entering the SID. So we have a section. In the
Right.
section, if I call a data page, that the value should come from the D page.
Sorry, can you
In the
again?
section, in the section
Section.
on the property, I'll give the source as D page.
Okay. Okay.
So now on the D page, I have a report definition, suppose.
Okay. Okay.
So, so how will the execution happen? Because how the parameters execution should happen, that I'm confused. Because first the D page will go and the report definition will execute. But the parameter we are passing is suppose SID. The same parameter we are passing to dpage also.
Okay.
And same we are passing to report definition.
Okay.
So
Okay.
how the execution happens, in what sequence it happens?
Okay. For example, okay. So, if you're talking with respect to retrieval, suppose, okay. So what happens here is, so here you don't see any parameters as such until unless you have some filter conditions or anything. You don't see any parameters, right? You have to add in some parameters here, and they turn out to be your filter criteria for the report definition, right? So it's the same thing here also. I mean, whatever parameters you have here, the same would be reported here also, correct?
Yes.
So the thing is, your D page is initiated. I mean, first the D page execution would start, where the next control would go to the report definition, looking at the parameters. So report definition is where the parameters come into picture. I mean, am I making sense?
So on dpage, if I have first name as my parameter, so the same
Okay.
will go to report definition.
Correct. Correct. So now, for example, if you see, I'm adding in a parameter called first name. Okay. And I assume this is an input, and where is it coming from? X, Y, Z. Student. Okay. Now, one. Just why do I see not parameters in here?
Refresh, I think we'll have to refresh because we have added the parameter.
Save it. Is it not getting figured out? Okay, one moment. Let's open the report definition, and here also we should mention in the parameters. We didn't do that. Okay. So in the meanwhile, I'll put it this way. See, on the D page, you can have multiple parameters, right? Like for example, here you might have multiple parameters, like 4 inputs, 4 outputs, or anything. But when you look at the parameters here on the report definition, so these would be here. If you see, there's an option called pass current parameter page. I mean, whatever the parameters are there for the D page, would you like to pass in the same thing, or are there any specific params for your report definition? Now see, this is my report definition where I can pass some parameters here. Like, let it be a first name. First name is text. Okay. Right on. Are you looking at any specific default value? No. Okay, now if I go back. Okay, so here my parameter, let me define one more parameter here, maybe last name. See, earlier also I should have defined it as yes. One moment. Is it because of this? Or, okay. I'm just undoing what I've done now. I've removed the parameters on the report definition. What I changed is, I changed the type to required, okay, on the list. Now, let's save it once. Yeah. So you see, even though I still made it as mandatory, I mentioned that this is an input parameter that is required, but still I don't see that on my report definition. Right? I don't see it as a parameter on the report definition. It still asks me the same things. Right? But when I add this on the report definition directly, okay, now if I go back. So now what is the parameter that I see? So whenever you would like to access the first name, or sorry, whenever you would like to access the report definition, you have to pass in some first name to it. We'll change it. Let's update this to the same value. So now when I run my D page, I should see 3 records. What's the first name? Yes, and again you can pass it from the primary scope. Okay. So let me do one thing. Is it? So wherever you're calling this DT now, you should define, or you should pass in this. Let me just run this. We'll see what happens. Okay. So you see, first name is mandatory, whereas last name is optional because we did not mention it as a required field. Okay. But that's fine. So what I would like to do is give a hello. And how many records should I see?
3.
Why do I see 4? Why did I get Virat Kohli? 2 is okay. But ideally, I should not get Virat Kohli. No. Student list. Yes, you see here we are passing in the parameter first name as hello. So ideally, ideally I should not get this one. Why am I still getting it? The parameter was passed correctly because we were able to look at it. We're passing it correctly only, but why is it? Oh, okay. One.
In
So did we
the
not
filter
have it as a,
conditions, we have
yeah, exactly. We forgot the filter. My bad. And what should be the value for it? Do I have any? No, I can just get this. So it has to be your param. Yes, now is it clear? Let's see. I mean, the parameter is passed, but we did not consider it on the filter.
Whatever parameter we pass, it should be included in the filter condition. Then only it will
Correct,
count.
correct. Because you're passing in the parameter, but for the report definition, because you're expecting a list of outcomes, right? Let's see once again. I'm going to save it. Now we'll run it. So ideally now we should get 3 record. Yes. So I see PX results 1. Yes, I've got a hello. And the PX results 2. Yes. And the results 3. Yes. Okay, we have got 3 records corresponding to this particular parameter that you have passed as an input. Because if you look at the single instance case, what happens is parameter is directly a filter condition. When you are filtering from 100 records, whatever is the primary key that you are looking at, that will be the same parameter. Right? The primary key and the parameter are the same. But here, your parameter would be turned out to be a filter condition. Yes, that's like an additional configuration that we have on the report definition. Now, if I make my one also as a mandatory field, like for example, let us define it. So let's define the last name also. And I would like to define it here also as a mandatory. I mean, this seems like a bit of round robin thing. Like we never know which one to take up first. Should I add the parameters on my report definition first or the parameters on my D page first? Both are kind of, you can, I mean, there's no precedence or order or anything as such for it. Now if I go back, what are my parameters this time? Yes, this time I also have param.class and both are mandatory for me. And on the D page,
Now, if I do not mention the filter condition of last name here, it will only take first name.
no, this time, no, it will not because both are mandatory, right? Because now when I
We
run
made
this,
last name also mandatory.
correct. So now if you run this, now you can run your report definition also independently, yes. So now if I just try to run this, it will ask me both first name and last name. Filtered by, I did not give any filter as such. Okay, let's run the D page. But let's look at okay, I'll change this. So I have 2 records with hello world. Okay, now you see both are mandatory. If I don't give a matching criteria, or if I don't give last name at all, it cannot run. Or if I would give some random thing, no record will turn up. Now I should ideally see 2 records this time. Don't tell me it is not saved. Sorry, where is this? Do I see 3 records this time? Why I have a feeling I see 3 records. Okay. Let us just save all of it once again. I'm not really sure what's wrong with the save here. My parameters are correct. And what about the filter? It is correct. And conditions ideally is A and B. Okay. What about the student list? I see both my parameters. Good. Yes, both are inputs. Good. Everything seems fine, but suddenly I don't see it working. Okay. All look good. Let's look at the clipboard ones. I should look at the red scope. And what about the student list? Yes, I see. First name is hello. Last name should be world. And how many records do I see? Oh yeah, you see 2. I think there is some refresh issue, or but because earlier we did this, now after saving it a multiple times, yes, we see it. I think as per the criteria that we have given, yes. I think it's there even also on the results here. Yes, I see 2 records. Yeah. So nothing wrong with the approach. It's just that I think sometimes save isn't properly working. Yeah. So the parameters that you give, they would be no, the parameters that you mention on the report definition, they will definitely be part of your filter criteria. Right? They could be mandatory or not, but at least they will be available for you to add on the filter criteria. Right. So then we have few, I mean, except for reports and we have few other, all those were kind of miscellaneous topics. We have mashup, then we have accessibility features. Okay. So that's just one thing that we have to look into. Accessibility features, mashup, and what? I think yeah, mobile app is there. So I think those
Reports is also pending.
reports, yes, reports is also pending. So
And
we'll
locking.
yeah, joins and reports. Right. So I think yeah, we are good with that. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.